Hello, hello. Saludos, everyone. I am Moni, the craftologist, and I am back again with another video tutorial for you. So, in a previous video, I had shown you guys how I make my thank you cards for my small business um, double-sided and holographic. As you can see, there's stars there. There's some rainbow going on. Anyway, I showed you how I designed those using Canva Pro and how I upload them into Silhouette Studio so that I could multiply them, print them double-sidedly, and cut them with my Cameo 4. I did say that you don't need to have a Cameo 4 to cut those thank you cards, that you can also cut it with Cricut Design Space. Just upload them on there. If you have the Silhouette Studio app, the Pro, you can upload it into your Cricut. However, I still had some of my followers and some of my crafty friends ask me, Moni, that's great and all that you can do that using your Cameo, but what about us Cricut users that don't use Silhouette Studio? And that's definitely understandable because I didn't have Silhouette Studio for a long time. So I used to wonder the same thing too. So I'm making this video for you guys. Okay. The process is still the same. However, instead of doing thank you cards, I'm going to do my business cards. So you pretty much get two in one because um, the same process that you would use for thank you cards, you would use for business cards and vice versa. Okay. So let me get myself together here and I will start with sharing my Canva so that I can show you how I download those and then upload them into Cricut Design Space. Okay, so here I am in Canva Pro. I have already designed my business cards and I just did that as I showed you in the previous video. Let's see. So pretty much what I do is I go to elements. I start adding my elements, whatever elements I want. That's not it. I might want to duplicate this, put it on the other corner. I might want to add gold stars. I'm gonna duplicate that. Oh, sorry. Duplicate those stars if I can. Sometimes things just want to get a little bit complicated for me. Okay, let's say I want to upload my logo. I go to upload. I'll use this one. If I want to change the background, I click on that. And I might want to change the color of the background, light blue. I might want to change these a little lighter too. So I'm going to go to edit photo. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Okay, here it goes. Edit photo. I go to filters. I like this one. So you see the color on that changed. Do the same thing with this one. Okay. I think that looks good. So I already have my business card saved onto my computer, but I just wanted to show you guys how I design a little bit and then go into saving. Okay. So that's pretty much what you're going to do. The size of my business cards, I believe is, let's see, it's 3.5 wide by 2 inches in height. Okay. And that's the standard size of a business card. So you can always, when you are designing it, you can click on the, so let's say, let's go to a new tab. You go to customize size, you go to inches, and you could put 3.5 by 2 in height, and it'll give you suggestions. So I can just click on business card and it'll bring it up. And it'll also give you some templates that you can use on the side here. So if you don't want to sit there and create your own, you can also use one of these templates and then just change your name on that to whatever you'd like. Okay. You don't necessarily have to make your own from scratch. I like to make my own from scratch because I want it to be unique. You don't have to be like me. Okay. If you want something a little bit more simple, you can do that too. If you want to add something, you can. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this so I don't need it. This is my card right here. What I do is I go to share, download, and then I don't want the third page because the third page was just for me to show you how to create something. So I'm going to go ahead and unselect that, and then I'm going to press done. I have it at PNG because it's the best way that it'll look. Some people like to do it PDF. However, I have a problem with downloading PDF into um, Design Space for Cricut. I think it's a little easier if you're uploading it into Silhouette Studio, but with Design Space, it doesn't want to upload PDF files, so I don't even attempt it anymore. I just go to PNG, or if I'm making an SVG with a lot of layers, then I'll press SVG. You can also save it as a JPEG because that's easier for sharing, but I just like to use the PNG. So I download that. Once it finishes the process, it's going to bring up my files where I keep everything at. So then I just look for the file where I want to keep it. And then I'll go ahead and rename it whatever I want. Sample for video is what I'm naming it. And then this one, because it's 2 pages, is going to come up as a zip file. So I'm going to save it here. Then I have to go into my file explorer. Okay, so now we are in File Explorer. I'm looking for that file. It did come up as sample for video. I'm gonna double click it because it saved it as a zip file. So I need to extract all of that. If you didn't know that, if you have more than one page or if a file is too big, it's going to make it a zip file. And then you have to go in there and extract it. So that is why I went to my File Explorer. I use an HP. It may be different if you use a Mac or another type of computer, but pretty much where you keep your files, that's where you can find it, or where your files download to. Anyway, I had saved mine as sample for video, so I went ahead and I found that zip file. I opened the zip file. Now I am going to click this little box up here so that it selects both of those because I need them. One of them is the front page, one of them is the back page. They're just labeled 1 and 2. I can always rename those after I extract them to where I want them to extract. So I am going to select both of those. I am going to go to the top bar and I'm going to press on extract all. Once I extract all, I'm hoping that you can see the screen that I am on because sometimes it will not show the little pop-up windows that come up. Let me go back and check. Okay. So you're going to get an extract compress folders window. You're going to select the destination where you want to extract that file. You can extract it to the same file that it's already in, or you can press browse and select a different file place where you would like to send that to. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to extract it to the same one. It's not going to affect me in any way. I'm going to extract it as sample video, and it's going to go into my Moni Craftologist business file under my USB. Now, if you don't have a USB, you might want to save it to your computer. It's up to you wherever you save that to. I'm just showing you how to extract it. Now that it is extracted, now I can go ahead and upload it into Cricut Design Space. So let me go into my Cricut so that I can show you how to upload it. Okay, so now we are in Cricut Design Space. I am under a new project. Okay, so once you go into your home screen, you're going to click on new project and you're going to get your canvas. I like to change the color of my canvas just so that in case I'm using anything that's white in here, I can see it. So I usually put it like a light gray or I'll put it yellow. You can change that to whatever color. It's under where it says blank canvas over on the layers column. If you click on that, then you come up here where it says color, you can change the color of that to any color you like. Okay. So even if you want to like a black, you can still have black. I also like to have my lines on there so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now what you do is you go to upload. You are going to upload the image. So you're going to go to upload. button, and then you're going to go to browse and you're going to look for the files that you had downloaded. A key to this is to remember where you save your stuff. Okay. Once you extract it, make sure that you remember where you extracted it to, so that you can find it easily and then you don't have to be like me, searching for things everywhere. Okay. So I have found my files. I am going to go ahead. Remember that mines were labeled 1 and 2. I never renamed those. So I found my one. I'm going to press open, and then here's my first one. So I'm going to go to complex. I always choose complex because it will not eliminate anything from that print file. And continue. It looks good to me. Does it look good to you? I think it does. We're going to go to apply and continue down here. All these buttons that you have to press. I'm going to choose print then cut, because if I choose just cut, there's not going to be anything except for this rectangle. So I'm going to choose print and cut, and I'm going to press upload. Okay. You're going to do the same thing for that second file. Once you have your first and your second file up, you will select them. So in order to resize, they're both selected right now. So you're going to click anywhere in the outer areas to deselect those or unselect those. And then you're going to click on one at a time. So I'm going to click on the first one. And then I go to my toolbar where it says size. There's a little lock right in between the width and the height. I am going to click on that so that it opens that lock. Okay. Once you select that, you are going to set the width at 3.25. The reason I'm going to 3.25 and not to 3.5, the way a standard business card is because if you are printing in an 8.5 by 11, Cricut will not allow you to put enough cards. And then you're going to have a lot of space with a blank. And so, in order to fill it as best as you could for a business card, you're going to put 3.25. Okay. So, just go along with it. Because Cricut does stuff. We all know that. Design Space, I should say, not Cricut. But Space wants to play around. So once you select it, you're going to put 3.25 in width so that you can be able to print it. Usually a standard business card is 3.5. However, if you do 3.5 on an 8.5 by 11 using Cricut to print it out, it's not going to let you. Not with enough cards. And if you eliminate some of the cards, you're going to have a lot of blank space. Now, if you are doing a thank you card, the numbers that I had used for a thank you card was a 5 by 4, I believe. And I was able to fit 3 business cards on one page and still have a portion of it blank, but I couldn't do anything about that. But as far as business cards, you're going to set it up at width of 3.25, height at 2. Then you're going to lock that. Okay, you're going to click on the next one. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to open that lock. Open that lock. You're going to width will be 3.25 and height would be 2, and then close that lock. Okay. Now you have 2 of them. They're both the same size. We're going to start with the first one. So we are going to hide the second card. And the way that I hide it is I go into the layers column. There's these things that look like eyeballs. I'm going to click on that. Then the most important part is positioning. Okay. If you want it to come out right, and what I mean by coming out right is printing double-sided, you need to position it correctly. So there's going to be a lot of math involved. Okay. Let me first explain that the X up here, if you look on the toolbar, this X is where the position of this card is right now, the top left hand corner. So this left box right now, that corner is positioned at 0.197. We want to put that at 0 all the way on the top. And the reason is because there's going to be some math involved. So it moved it all the way to the left side where the 0 is. Now this is the y-axis. Okay? It's not all the way on top for the y-axis. We're going to make sure that it's all the way on top, and we're going to put 0 on the y-axis as well. Okay? That's going to bring it all the way up to this corner here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this card. We're going to go downward. And what I mean by downward is we're going to set these in a row. We're going to make it 4 times. We're going to select all, and we're going to align to the left. Okay. Now, when it aligned it to the left, all of these automatically got positioned to the X at the 0. Okay, which means they're all aligned at the 0. If I were to position this at a 1, look at what happens. Comes out, right? And it's not lined up directly, so we keep it at a 0. However, we don't want them on top of each other the way it is here. For some reason, my distribution button never works. You can go into, like, if you select all and go to align and then distribute horizontally. For some reason, that never happens for me. That feature does not work the way I would like it to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with this y-axis up here. So we know that the first card is 2 inches in height, which means that the very top is all the way at the 0, but the very bottom corner is at the 2. Okay. So on the left, this very bottom corner is at the 2, and that's where we want the next card to begin. So we're gonna select the second card, and we're gonna position it at 0 on the x-axis and 2 at the y-axis. That moves it down. We're gonna select that second one, the third one, I should say, and it should be 0, and then 2 plus 2, because remember its height is 2, so 2 plus 2 is 4. So we're gonna position that one at the 4. And then the third card, which I think is at the 2 almost, we're going to position that at 4 plus 2, which is 6. Okay. So the first one is at 0, or x0, y0. The second one is x0, y2. Sorry for the pop-ups. The third one is x0, y4. And the last one is x0, y6. Okay. Now you select all of those, you group them, and you duplicate. We're duplicating because we're making 8 cards. Okay. What I do for this next column is, remember, our first card starts at the 0, but it ends at the 3.25, right? So we are going to position the x-axis at 3.25, and the y-axis will be at 0 so that it moves it all the way up. There you go. You're going to select all of that. You're going to press attach. Now, in the layers, it might show it like going all the way down. All you do is hit this little arrow. You're going to hit where it says attach. You're going to tap that twice, and we're going to name this front because this is the front of my card. Okay. In the back of my card is going to be my logo. I am going to hide the front of the card right now so that I can work on the back of the card. So hide that one. I don't know why I have so many cards. That's not it. Let me delete this one. Okay, here's the back of the card. This one is at 3.25 by 2. I'm going to do the same thing that I did. Oh, what is wrong with this thing? I just want to select that. Okay. There. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to set it up in the same slots. So X is going to be at 0. Y is going to be at 0. I'm going to duplicate 4 times or 3 more times. Select all. I wonder if I distribute now, if it'll do so. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay. Something like that. We're going to align to the left. Remember, my second card is 0 and the Y is at 2. The third card is at 0 and the Y is at 4. And the last card, oh, yeah, this is the last card. 0 and 6. 2, 4, 6. We're going to select all of that. So select all, group, duplicate, and this will be set at X of 3.25 and Y at, oh my goodness, Y at 0. Okay, I'm going to select all again. I'm going to press attach. Now, we're going to click on the attach in the layers twice, and we're going to name that back. And now we have labeled the front and the back of our cards. Okay, now I am going to unhide the front. but you cannot see it. You know why you cannot see it? Because it's layered right underneath this. See that? Now, you can leave it like this. When you go to make it, it's still going to make it into different documents. Once you click 3.5, I'm sorry. Once you click on your material size of 8.5, it's going to put those on two separate sheets. And that's what you want, okay? Let's cancel this for a second. Remember, they're on top of each other, right? But when you make it, it's not going to be on top of each other. However, some people are bothered by this, are really bothered by this. So we know that it finishes at the 6.5, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the back, and I'm going to, on the x-axis, put 6.5. Now you can see them side by side. Now it will not bother some of us as much. Um, I'm a visual person, so it does bother me sometimes when I can't see something that's behind something else. Okay, so for the sake of us who are bothered by that, and I say us because I'm included, I just showed you the trick on how to see it by side by side. Um, or you can manually just scoot it over. Again, we're gonna go to make it, and this is where the tricky part begins. You have to make sure. Now, I don't know what size you're using your paper, okay? But if you wanted to print front and back, I suggest just getting regular photo paper and using the standard 8.5 by 11 photo paper, okay? Because this is the best way to line it up so that you make sure that it prints out on both sides. Okay, so once you do that, you don't need to mirror anything, but you do need to position things appropriately. So once you click on your first one, so both of those papers should be set at 8.5 by 11. Once you click on the first one, you're going to see the red outline. That is your printable area. Okay. You're going to go to the top. Like it looks like a stair, right? You're going to go to the top and you're going to make sure that it is in that corner. Okay. Right here. See the top left corner? You need to put it in there. Don't put it down here. Just try to save face because it's not going to fit. You need to put it at this corner right here. Make sure you place it right there. Okay. Then you're going to click on the second paper. Okay, so now we're going to click on the second page, which should be the one with your logo on it, or well, for mine, it's the one with the logo on it. Um, what you're going to do with this one is you are going to leave it at the top, but you're going to move it all the way to the right. So on that outline, you're not going to go all the way to the top because, again, it doesn't fit, and you're not going to go to the bottom corner because it doesn't fit. You're going to use that middle corner, which is like right underneath that registration mark. That red corner right underneath the registration mark is where you are going to set up that second page. So the first page was moved all the way to the top left corner. Your second page should be to the top right corner. Trust the process. This is the only way that it's going to come out back to back. I tried it. I did a lot of trial and error. So please trust the process. All right. Once you do that, you can continue so that you can print it out. Here, I'm going to press send to print. Okay. I'm going to select the printer that I am printing on. I'm using a regular HP Office Jet. I'm going to take off the bleed. I don't need anything to bleed. I don't. Bleeding is just, it adds an extra little piece of color around the cutting area. And that is, in case that your cutting is not lined up right, then it picks up a little bit of color and won't look too bad. I don't like to do that, not when I'm printing business cards. So I'm gonna take off the bleed. You can use the user dialog if you need to set like your paper to matte or anything like that. Mine's is already set up. I'm not gonna go through that whole process because either way, you're not gonna be able to see what I'm doing because the pop-up will not show in this video. But if you do need to adjust your colors, if you do need to adjust your paper, like for instance, if your printer is set up to glossy and you want to put it on matte paper, then you do need to use the system dialog. Go look for your printer that you're going to print on, go to the preferences and change your, that's where you can change your paper size, where you can change your from matte to glossy, whatever the case may be. Mine's is already set up. I'm not going to do all that. That's a whole different video. All right, I'm going to press print, but first I need to put the paper in the printer. So you would just, because it's plain on both sides, you're just gonna put the paper inside the printer. I don't know if you can see this printer. I think you can. This is the printer that I'm going to use. So I'm gonna go ahead, place my paper inside that paper cassette. If you use the tray, you can use the tray. I'm using the cassette. I'm going to adjust it there, press print, and that's gonna start printing out. Okay. Once it prints out the first time, I'm gonna set up the computer closer so that you can see the next step. This is the printer that I am using. The paper already came out from the first side. So now what we do is, I'm gonna show you how I'm grabbing it, okay? This is how I grab it. So as you can see, this is the top. This side came out first. Okay? Came out like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it back into the, call it the cassette of my printer, which is the bottom tray. So I'm still going to insert it with the image facing up. However, what came out first is going in first, if that makes any sense. So I have to flip my paper this way. So it came out this way. I have to flip it, bring what came out first to insert first. Okay? If that makes any sense, I hope that you're able to keep up, because that's what's going to make a world of a difference of how this prints out. Okay? I close that tray. So now that I close the tray, I come back in here to print that second page out. So I'm doing the same process. I'm looking for my printer. Again, I am not going to add that outline of the bleed. And I am just going to press print and wait for that to print out. We did it, guys. We printed double-sided. So that was the trick to printing. The first page, you print on the top left corner, and the second page you print on the top right corner so that you get a good alignment. Okay? Now, as I showed you in the previous page, what you do then is you can cover these with your holographics. Okay? Here's my holographic. The side that has, so this one I'm going to have to cut down. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to keep that inside of my registration mark. So I'm going to fold this holographic right here. Then I'm going to cut it. If I can find my scissors here. Okay. Sorry for all the noise. So I want to remain inside of those registration marks, because if I go over, even though it's transparent, if I go over those registration marks with the holographic, my cutter might not pick up on that, on those registration marks. Because of the holographic, it'll do something to that light, that laser light that scans for the registration marks. I'm going to use my weeding pen to weed up my holographic transparent sticker paper. So this is how it looks. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I place that within those registration marks. Go slow so that you don't get air bubbles. Okay, so you see how the registration marks are still out. Then you can go ahead and flip the paper if you want to put holographic on the opposite side. Now, you can choose which side you want to use those registration marks on. whatever side you're leaving up, you don't need. So the side that you're gonna leave the registration marks up on, you do need to cut so that it is within the registration marks. However, for the opposite side, you don't necessarily need to cut it because that's going to be facing down and it's not going to be affected by the registration marks. I'm going to use a different one. For the top part, I'm going to use this one. Or for the back, I should say. For the back, I will use this one. Again, I need my weeding pen to weed that up. Come on. Sometimes it sticks really good. And sometimes it's just me. I don't have any nails. People who have nails can do this really quickly. Ooh, come on. There. Okay, so this is my second one. And since this is going to be the side that I leave down on my mat, I don't need to cut anything off of the... Oh, you know what? Whatever. Now you have to be careful when you're putting this down or else you'll get air bubbles and you'll get it all messed up like I just did. And then to lift it, because it's on a matte paper, it may not lift without ruining your paper. You have to see. It's not going to lift without ruining my paper, so I'm just going to flatten it as best as I could. But I'm glad that I made this error so that you know to go slow. Go slow. Slow down. Make your placement correct. And lay it down slowly. Lay it down very slowly. So I'm going to have a couple of mistakes here. That's okay. Sometimes ish happens. I don't know if you can see that. I didn't go slow, and so it created this crease, and then I can't lift it up because it's on matte paper. It's going to ruin the paper underneath. So that's fine. Only one of them got ruined. Now I go ahead and I secure all of this onto my mat. I do like to use... My mat is pretty sticky, so it really not going to go nowhere, but I still like to be on the safe side. So sometimes I secure that with some washi tape in the corners just to make sure that it doesn't move anywhere when it's cutting. So there it is. Okay, so now I have put it into my machine. Well, actually, I'm going to put it into my machine now. I'm making sure that since this is the page that I am cutting, that's going to be up to pick up the registration marks, that I select the correct page, which is this one. And then I have set it to heavy cardstock. And I will go ahead and put that in my machine. Press that little C Cricut button. And hope for the best. It is going to start cutting. It's going to start reading those registration marks, as you can see. It looks like it's reading them correctly. I got really close at the bottom, so hopefully it reads the bottom registration marks. Because I'm noticing here that I got really, really close to that registration mark when I cut out the holographic. I think it'll do. The last registration mark that's happening now. And then to cut. I told you guys I secured my stuff with washi tape just to make sure that it doesn't move when it's cutting. My mat is really sticky though, so it shouldn't move. So it looks like it's cutting nicely. I should have put it to fast mode. I'm going to pause this video in the meantime while it finishes cutting because I don't think you want to see that. Maybe you do, so let me just keep talking to you guys. I set it to heavy cardstock because even though it's photo paper and it was 41 pounds, it's kind of heavy photo paper. And then with the holographic transfer paper on top, or the holographic printable sticker paper, whatever it is that you want to call that holographic paper, it makes it thicker, and we're putting 2 layers of it. So I put it at heavy cardstock to make sure that it goes through. So before I remove my mat completely, I just want to check one of those. So I'm leaving the mat in the same place in case I have to go back over it a second time, which it almost looks like I do have to go over it a second time. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to put it through a second time. I'm going to go ahead and... So they're cutting nicely. Maybe when you put it to cut, you might want to press heavy, more on that heavy cardstock. So I'm just going to put it through a second time. I didn't remove the mat so that I can check it and then put it through a second time if it needs to, and it'll cut in the exact same places that it cut the first time around. If you remove the mat and then you put it a second time to cut, it's not going to cut in the exact same place that it did before. It'll cut very close, but not in the exact same place. So you want it to cut in the exact same place. You want to go over those exact same lines so that it doesn't damage your cardstock and so that it doesn't look ugly. So it looks like it's cutting right over it. I didn't put more because, again, I didn't remove the cardstock. I just put it in, and it's just going to go over those same lines with the same pressure a second time. And it should work. It should go all the way through this time because, it's kind of like cutting a slice of French bread, and it doesn't cut through with your dull knife the first time, so you put it again a second time. I don't know why I just said dull bread. I needed some example. Maybe, I don't know, an orange. When you're cutting an orange and it doesn't go through the first time, or I don't know, just think of a dull knife. You guys get the point. All right, and that looks like it cut through very nicely. There's my cards. Now I can remove the mat, and I can fold back to remove those cards. And there you have it. I got those cards out. Okay, and here's the final result of my business cards. This is the front, beautiful holographic. This is the back, even more beautiful holographic. Okay. Again, if you want to cut out and round out those edges, you can purchase one of these on my Amazon storefront using my code Moni. Actually, it's Monica Pedraza. So my whole name, Monica with a C, Pedraza, Pedraza -20 on Amazon. My Amazon storefront, you can find it on my bio. You can find it on my TikTok bio, on my Instagram bio, and if I'm not mistaken, even on my YouTube bio. So I just rounded my corners off. That's how I did it. I used this tool. Okay. Again, the setting for these was 3" by 2". And then for my thank you cards, which I just had around here somewhere. Now here they go. For my thank you card, the process would be the same, except with these, you cannot get 8 in a page. You can only get, I believe, 3 in a page. So you would do 3 going down. And these are sized to 5. Let's see. Yeah, 5 by 3, actually. So these are 5 by 3. I had previously said 5 by 4, but my thank you cards are 5 by 3. You could get 3 in a page of a Cricut page. And again, use the front page, you would put to print. When you align it to print, you're going to put it to the left top corner, and the back side would be to the right top corner. Okay. So these are the business cards. These are the thank you cards. Nice set. Thank you cards are set to 5 by 3, 5 wide, 3 in height. Business cards are set to 3 wide, 2 in height. Okay. And for those of you curious, only one of my cards actually got damaged, and that's what it looked like. So not too bad. I'll keep this one for myself. Sometimes, you're on your last card and you need a reference, so that can always be your reference. But the rest came out great. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe if you are not already subscribed to my channel. Make sure you like it and share it with someone. You never know who might need the tips and tricks. Have a great day.